Welcome back. So this is part 5 of chapter 2. When we are converting math formulas to programming statements, there's a couple things to keep in mind. There always is an operator required for any mathematical operation. And when converting mathematical expressions to programming statements, you may need to add multiplication operators, and you may need to insert parentheses. When it comes to mixed types expressions and data type conversion, if we have data types resulting from math operations, the data type resulting from math operations, so whatever math operations we have, the resulting data type depends on the two data types around the operands. So if we have two int values, the result will be an int. If we have two floats, the result will be a float. If we have an int and a float, the int is temporarily converted to a float. And what did we say before? Two floats result in a float. So if we have an int and a float, we will result in a float. This is known as a mixed type expression. Type conversion of float to int will cause truncation of the fractional part. So whenever we have a number that has the decimal part, if we convert this to an int, we lose this and keep this. So the problem with that is we've truncated data and we probably have caused an error. Oh, fun little fact. We can break long statements into multiple lines. We don't like to have these very, very long statements when we're coding. It makes it hard to read. So oftentimes we'll break up long statements. And the way we do that is to use the multi-line continuation character, or this little kind of slash there. So instead of having all this in one line, we can say var times 2, or var1, times 2, plus var2 times 3, plus var3 times 4, plus var4 times 5. Now, when we use this, as you can see, we don't need to have that result piece out there. It's almost as if it's telling the interpreter to ignore the line break and take this and just put it up here again for us. But it does it behind the scenes, so we can have nice, neat looking code while it does all of the processing for us. So it's real nice. And just because we always want to keep harping on this, remember, in this is going to be done first, then this is second, then this is third, then this is fourth, and then going left to right, it's going to take this value and add it to this value. Then it'll take this value and add it to this value, and then this value and add it to this value. So there is how that math happens. So we've talked about this breaking long statements into multiple lines. Any part of a statement that is enclosed in parentheses can be broken without the line continuation character. So we don't need that slash. Let me make sure I use the right slash, because that is a common mistake here, and even I just did it, right? We used the wrong slash there. So we want to use that slash. We don't need it, though, because we have parentheses around our data, or our parameters. Same thing here. Because we have the parentheses around it, it's smart enough to know that all this is essentially on the same line. So now we're going to talk about string concatenation. String concatenation. To do that, what we're doing is we're appending one string to the end of another string. And we use the plus sign to do that. Now, remember that by doing this, it does not automatically add a space. It does not do it. In fact, if you look in this statement, the space is already in there for us. And so that's why we have a space there. By the way, we're taking this and we're assigning it to our variable and then passing our variable in as a parameter, and that's why the hello world gets printed out there. So in our string concatenation, you can use string concatenation to break up a long string literal. So here, instead of having it all in one line, we can say the first bit, we open and empty with our end with our single quotes. We're using the plus. Plus because we're doing it in the print, we want to make sure we have our parentheses, and all of this will go in as a parameter. And that statement will display the following. Again, look, there's spaces here for us. It does not automatically, because we're using concatenation, add those spaces. However, if we have implicit string literal concatenation, which is two or more string literals written adjacent to each other, are implicitly concatenated into a string. So here we have 1, 2, 3, and there's no there's no comma in between. There is a space there, but please understand, because we're concatenating and we're not doing anything special with this, this variable now will have all of the words put together into one word with no spaces. So here we're doing the same thing, but again, we're making sure that there are spaces here. And because, as we showed up here, we didn't need to have the pluses, we don't need the pluses here either. And it will still do this. Now again, because of this, we have the space there. It will not automatically do it for us. With the print function, we can set some different parameters. In fact, we can say, the print function displays lines of output. We can say, hey, instead of the new line character at the end being a space, we can say what we want it to be. So special argument n equals delimiter causes print to place delimiter at the end of data instead of new line character. So all that we've been doing so far is by saying we've not specified the end parameter. So when this prints out hello world, it's automatically going to do the new line character. It's going to essentially hit enter for us at the end. And what's interesting about that is if we have multiple print statements, like if we had the print hello world and then we said print test, when it outputs, hello world would be on its own line and test would be on its next line. But we can change that with this end delimiter, which causes the print to place the delimiter at the end instead of using the new line. So we could say we could say oh, and in this case, we're not putting anything in there. We're just saying single quote and single quote. What's nice about that is by doing that, hello world will go on there. Let's say we now do the current test. So the results of this are going to be hello world. And because it doesn't do the new line, in fact, it doesn't do anything because we said n equals single quote, it's going to on the next one say test on the same line. But because we didn't specify the end on this one, now the new line character is added and enter is hit. So if we did another print, it would be on the next line. Print function uses space as the item separator. We have a special argument sep equals delimiter causes print to use delimiter as an item separator. So again, if you remember, we can do multiple. I'm trying to move the tablet here a little bit so that way I can maybe write a little bit neater. So we can say print 1, 2, and this will output 1 with a space, 2 with a space, and then 3, right? However, if we change it and we say sep equals single quote, and let's say we're going to do a semicolon, then what would happen is now we go 1, semicolon, 2, semicolon, 3. And we can make this separation pretty much any character. The space, which is what default is, a dash, anything. With the print function, we can use special characters appearing in a string little. So anything that is preceded by the backslash will do special things. So new line is /n, and horizontal tab is a /t. These are treated as commands embedded in the string. So if we say print hello /in world, the results of this would be hello new line world. All right, when we come back, we are going to talk about using print to display formatted output. Hope to see you soon.